Hey everybody, how you doing? Joe here from the Scruffy Fam. So today we're sitting at my workbench and thought I'd talk to you guys about something. So, as I'm doing my gunsmithing program at Sonoran Desert Institute, I've been thinking a lot about, okay, what am I going to do when I'm done? You know, there's a lot of different options in the gunsmithing world of what you would like to do. Now, there's still some stuff that I would like to do after I finish with SDI. I'd like to take some machining courses. I'm really interested in being able to do some barrel work, and my school just doesn't give that type of option, any hands-on. I think we're going to talk about concepts and stuff behind it, but actually getting behind a metal lathe and cutting into a barrel is not happening, and that's something that I'm very interested in, and I think will make me more well-rounded as a gunsmith to be able to thread barrels and do some rechambering and barrel work. I think that's something that would be beneficial, but that would be the next thing when I graduate with my certificate. But also just as a firearm enthusiast and as a shooter, what is it that I want to do with all of this? And the thing that I really honed in on was doing some precision rifle work. And what better way to do that than to be around the precision rifle shooters? Now, as I've been doing a lot of research and looking at things, honestly, PRS and NRL just seem so far away and so hard for me to do. Not because I don't have the firearms or the novice level to give it a try. It's just with my family, I can't take that time to invest in something like that. And honestly, the cost of all of that, and it's a lot. It is a lot for my family, and that's not something that I'm willing to invest that much into. But they both offer this thing. One is PRS Rimfire, and the other one is NRL22. And the thing I like about that is they do have production divisions where they put a price cap on how much money you can spend to bring in your 22 and compete, which I think is really, really cool. It's even put some people in the manufacturing industry to purposely build rifles that will fit that production class. I was just looking today on their websites and it says this fits NRL22. Oh, wow, they're really trying to get you to pick theirs over someone else's. And it's become such a thing that a lot of companies are supporting it. But I have a Ruger 1022, and it's not a precision rifle. I mean, let's be honest, the Ruger 1022 has been around forever. I got a very cheap black stock $250, maybe less, rifle. It wasn't built to be a precision rifle. So one of the things that I already knew I was going to do with it was take it out of the stock that it came in and put it in a Magpul stock, which I've shown you guys that on why we like Magpul. Well, by doing that, this doesn't qualify for that production division anymore. And I've watched a lot of videos about, can you do PRS with a 1022? And one of the things I keep seeing is people are saying, yes, you can, but the semi-auto is not as accurate as the bolt action. But then I've seen other people that have shot extremely accurate with the semi-auto. And it kind of puts me at this crossroads of, it's something I would like to do. I think doing the NRL22 or the PRS Rimfire would be a lot of fun. I think the biggest difference between the two is I think the NRL Hunter is usually 100 yards and in, where the PRS Rimfire can really go out to range up to a couple, I think 300 or 400 yards maybe, and that's out there for a 22, guys. And as I look more and more at doing something like that, I think it would be fun. I do. But because I put the 1022 in a chassis, it now goes into the open division. And you're going against people that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these 22s. And if you want to be competitive, you gotta keep pace. Well, I don't know if I would go to do this to be competitive or if I would go to do it to have fun and build my skills as a shooter. And so I've been really thinking about that. Do I want to invest time and money into my 1022 to make it a PRS or NRL22 competition rig? Or do I just want to invest the money in getting one of the recommended base class rifles and optics and just do it that way? So I've been thinking about that a lot. And you know what? The cheapest option as of right now is for me to roll with what I've got. And we're going to talk about that a little bit because there's a couple things with the 1022 that some people would say is not the best option for PRS or NRL22. And I want to provide a counter to that. If you want to get into the target shooting world, I'm not in it yet. And for me to look at all of the people that are doing it and how much money they've invested and the way they game the system, man, it is not something that I really want to spend that much time and effort on, but I want to go shoot these things and I want to go have fun. And I think that's the perspective that you have to have when you look at this. At first, just go have a good time. Shoot the targets, get better as a marksman, learn things. If you're lucky enough to have pros around there, they can give you advice. But you don't need to go buy all of the best gear right away before you ever go to a match. I haven't even been to a match. I don't want to invest hundreds and thousands of dollars into a 22 long rifle unless it's something that I plan on being a competitor that travels, right? I know what it takes to be a sponsored athlete. I am sponsored in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am a sponsored athlete for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I know what goes into that. So to do that again for another discipline, I don't know if I have that energy. I much rather like the appeal of these monthly matches that I can go and just shoot and have a good time. And to do that, what do I actually need? So let's talk about that. What I've got on my bench, and let's see if I can turn you guys around here. Here we go. Here is my Ruger 1022 in the X22 Hunter stock from Magpul. I like the Magpul stocks. I just really like them. I like the fact that on this, that I can remove the length of poles and make it shorter for my son. That I really enjoy with this. We just have a Harris style bipod on there. We have an M-lock adapter for the sling stud, so it's just a sling stud bipod, nothing too special there. And then the barreled action is all your original Ruger 1022 with a little flip up sight there, and we still have the Pinty red dot. Okay, so that's what I've got on the 1022 right now. So let's go this way. All right, so what I've got on here right now would not be good for competition. This little red dot would not be ideal for going out and shooting 100 rounds. So this would need to be replaced. I've got plenty of optics, everything from the super fancy ones to very basic ones. I do have a Vortex Diamondback Tactical that I think might be a good option to put on this if I was actually going to compete with it. It doesn't have the exposed turrets, but I also have my Monstrum Tactical ones that do have the exposed turrets. So I'm thinking I might do some switching around of optics to see what would fit best on this one. And we'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. The other thing that I am going to do is I don't like these sporter barrels. They're just not my favorite. I don't like anything on the barrel. I don't like it. I don't like this front sight thing. I don't like this here. So what we're going to do, I'm a big fan of the bull barrels or the match grade barrels. I think those are better just in general for firearms, I think that these match grade, if you plan on doing anything but hunting with them, and a 22, especially like this, the amount that you shoot it, you're going to be able to put thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds through a barrel before you burn it out. So what I want to do is I'm going to get a different match grade barrel for this. Now again, I'm a very budget minded person, so I'm getting a Shaw barrel, 18-inch bull barrel match grade from Brownells. I think it's about $100. Okay, so this Magpul Hunter stock was $100, $120, I think is what I got it for. Another barrel is $100. So I've almost invested as much as the rifle with getting those two things. So I'm replacing the stock and the barrel. So far, we're about the same as what it cost. Now, a couple of things people like to do with these is if we look in close here at the action and the trigger and the bolt release. So the bolt release on the 1022, if you don't know, when you bring this back and you lock it, it doesn't just come back forward. It's one of their safety things. There's a little heart-shaped piece in the release. Under here, you actually have to push, you have to bring it back and you have to push that up for it to release, and then it comes forward. In a timed hunting stage, that may delay you unless you're really familiar with that. I'm really familiar with it, so at this point, I don't think I'm gonna mess with it. Okay, if I need to, I can file that off, and I might do that eventually anyways, just because it's annoying, but it's not a necessity right here in this moment. The trigger on this is extremely heavy. It is a very, very heavy trigger. So another thing that I've seen people do is they replace the trigger. Well, I've seen people take their 1022 and start building it as an NRL or a PRS rig, and what ends up happening is when it's all said and done, nothing is the original 1022. They replace the barrel, they replace the trigger, and they get an entire new trigger system. Then they replace the action housing, then they replace the bolt. I mean, there's nothing left of the 1022. At that point, you should have just bought a 1022 kit and built it yourself, or buy a built kit. So I want to keep this as true to the 1022 as I can, and so I think we're gonna stop for now at the barrel and the stock. There's some stuff inside here that I can do through my gunsmithing that I know how to do to make it a little bit better. There's springs in here. There's things I can do that I can't show you on YouTube to make it so it's a little bit more effective. I can also fix this so that once it's locked, I just have to, once it's locked, I can pull it back a little bit and then go forward. That I can fix on my own. There's just some filing involved. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this red dot. We're going to an indoor range on Sunday, so I'm going to leave the red dot on just for some plinking fun. But after that, I'm going to take a good look at the scopes that I have. Probably after I switch the barrel out. So I'll switch the barrel out and then I'll look at the scopes and choose which scope I want to use. And then we'll take this out to the range and I'll do some 50-yard groupings and see how tight the group is. And then we'll take it to 100 yards and see how tight the group is. So the rule of thumb is you want half an MOA at 50 and 1 MOA at 100. I think that's what they said. Or 1 MOA. It's something like that. That's kind of what you're looking for. If I get that, then we know that I could at least hit targets. If we don't get that, then we'll have to talk about what's next. So a little project here is we are going to try to take a stock Ruger 1022 and see if we can make it into an NRL22 or PRS Rimfire open class rig and see if we could score pretty decent doing it. So this will be an interesting journey, guys. Part of my goal as a gunsmith is to build precision rifles and get as much accuracy out of them as humanly possible. This will be a challenge. Can I take a Ruger 1022 very basic model, keep the main parts of it the exact same, and still make it a competition-ready rifle? Let's find out. Subscribe, like, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.